The money that you're spending for a dating event, you can take that money and go to happy hour. You can take that money and go to an actual event. You can take that money and do anything else besides going to an event where you know 9 times out of 10 there's going to be 80 women and 2.5 men. If I was a man and I was looking to build my roster in like record time, I would buy a ticket to one of those dating events. You know why? Because the women there are giving very much, I'm gonna say it, desperate. Men are not going to dating events because it's too easy to get a girl anyway. And if they are going to dating events, trust me, it's not for the same intentions that you're going there for. And y'all are spending money for tickets for these dating events that you know is gonna be more women there. Like, if you're a lesbo, just say that. Like, that's cool. But if you're going there and really looking for a man, absolutely not. Take the money that you were going to use for that ticket, go level yourself up, buy some new makeup, buy a new dress, get a walking pad, go to happy hour, go to some other type of events that have men that are just naturally going to be there, that you can naturally just talk to, not with the intentions of dating. You have the intentions of dating and meeting someone, but he's going there just to have a good time. So that way it feels more organic, you know? And I promise you will have a much better experience.
Fellas, have you noticed a shift? Women are out here throwing dating events, speed mixers, singles nights, and now they're asking, where are all the men? They're shocked, confused, some even angry that guys aren't showing up anymore. But let's be real, this didn't just happen overnight. This is a result of years of disrespect, double standards, and treating men like they're disposable. And now that the tables are turning, everybody wants to talk. Let's unpack exactly why men are choosing peace over participation, and why the blame doesn't belong anywhere else but right where it started. So now women are complaining. They're out here saying, where are all the men at? They're throwing speed dating events, mixers, social nights, all dressed up, but men just aren't showing up. And you know what? That's not surprising at all. In fact, that's the consequence. Because for years, men did show up. They made the effort. They planned the dates, spent the money, took the risk. And what did they get in return? Disrespect, dismissal, a dating culture where men are constantly expected to prove their worth, while women just exist. You said you wanted high-value men, but treated average guys like they were invisible. You mocked men for not being 6 feet tall, not making six figures, not having perfect confidence or perfect game. You turned dating into an audition. And now you're mad the actors walked off the stage? You told men they were replaceable. So they stopped playing the game. See, men have learned. They realize that showing up doesn't benefit them anymore. Because these dating events, they're no longer about connection. They're about validation. Women don't show up to meet men. They show up to be admired, to compare, to reject. And now that men are walking away from the table, suddenly it's a crisis. But when men were being used, ignored, and laughed at, no one blinked. You can't spend years saying men ain't as asterisk T, and then wonder why they don't want to be around you. You can't create a culture where women brag about manipulating, testing, or leveling up and expect loyal, decent men to stick around. You push the good men away, call them boring, call them too nice, and now the same women are shocked that those men have chosen peace over chasing. This isn't bitterness. It's boundaries. Men are tired of paying to be disrespected, tired of being told to step up, while women step over them, tired of the endless tests, the fake standards, and the double expectations. They've learned that walking away is more powerful than trying to win approval in a rigged game, and now women are seeing the effects. Empty rooms, silent apps, no shows at dating events. It's not that men hate women. It's that men are done investing where there's no return. They're done showing up to prove themselves to people who've made it clear they don't respect them. And until women start reflecting, truly reflecting, on what they've contributed to this collapse, nothing's going to change. So, ladies, if you're wondering why men aren't showing up anymore, ask yourselves, how did you treat them when they did? Because the silence in those rooms isn't accidental. It's earned. And until that truth is faced, the empty chairs will keep multiplying.
So where are the men? Where do y'all hang out? If you don't go to coffee shops, I'm so tired of like going to a bar or like go to different events and they're like 90% of the ladies and only three men hang out in the corner. Do you guys just not leave the house or like go outside? Yeah, I would love to stop using all the dating apps that are just not working anymore and start meeting people in real life organically. But where do men usually hang out? I feel like I've been looking at the wrong places. So let me know in comments.
So where are the men? Where do y'all hang out if you're not going to coffee shops? That's what this woman is asking in the viral video. And she's not the only one. You can hear the frustration in her voice. She's tired. She says she's been going to bars. She's been showing up at events. She's been doing her part. But when she gets there, it's 90% women and just three men in the corner minding their business. She's confused. She doesn't understand why men aren't showing up anymore. But here's the truth. They're not hiding. They're not missing. They're just done. And the reason they're done? It's simple. They're tired of being treated like background extras in a movie where women think they're the star. For years, women wanted attention, validation, compliments, effort, energy, and gave nothing back but attitude and entitlement. Men showed up. Men asked questions. Men tried. And time after time, they got ignored, mocked, labeled creepy for saying hello, or used for free drinks and entertainment. Now those same women are shocked the game has changed. Modern dating became a power trip. It became a place where average men were expected to chase, perform, and prove themselves just to be noticed. And even if they met the impossible standards, it still wasn't enough. If he wasn't 6 feet tall, rich, hyperconfident, and perfectly charismatic, he was invisible. You treated good men like options. And now that they've walked away, you're wondering where they've gone? They're living life. They're building in silence. And most importantly, they've stopped begging to be seen. See, the problem isn't that men disappeared. The problem is women took them for granted when they were present. The bars, the dating events, the brunches. They became echo chambers of female egos, where men were props, not people. And when those men stopped showing up, it finally exposed imbalance. Now women are looking around, wondering why it feels so empty. But that emptiness, that's the silence men gave you in return for the disrespect you gave them. Men didn't vanish. They evolved. They started asking, what do I get out of this? They realized that attention doesn't equal affection. That being a man isn't about suffering in silence while women play games. So they stopped showing up to play. And guess what? That's not bitterness. That's boundaries. That's men finally choosing peace over performance. That's the reaction to years of being overlooked, overworked, and underappreciated. So when you walk into that room and it's 90% women and just 3 quiet men in the corner, understand this. Those men aren't antisocial. They're observant. They're not bitter. They're wise. They're watching, learning, and refusing to dance for people who never intended to give them a seat at the table. And the men who aren't even in the room, they're the ones who already figured it out and left with their dignity. Ladies, ask yourselves honestly, how did you treat men when they were showing up? Were you approachable? Were you respectful? Or did you assume they owed you something just for existing? Because the men who walked away didn't ghost the dating scene for no reason. They were pushed out by rejection dressed as independence, and games dressed as confidence. So the question isn't where the men. The real question is, why did they stop showing up for you? And until that gets answered honestly, don't expect that room to fill up anytime soon.
Like if you were to do it in a bar, right? There's a chance that the person you're approaching is in a relationship or they're just not in the mood to talk. I think we've all been there, right? Like you've gone out with your friends and you're like, this is about me and my friends. This is not about other people tonight. And so I really think going to these dating events is such an untapped opportunity for men. And it's crazy to me because women's tickets for events sell out so quickly all the time. I've seen events where the women's tickets sell out within 15 minutes. And then men's tickets are still available until like an hour before the event. It's crazy. So yeah, I think I really believe in dating events, especially because I think there's actually way more manners in dating events. The problem with dating apps is like things like ghosting. And ghosting to me is a lack of respect and manners, right? It doesn't take much to say, nice talking to you, but I don't feel a connection, goodbye. Like it doesn't take much to do that. But because we're digital and we're just constantly swiping.
Now it's women trying to convince men to go to dating events. One woman in the video even calls it an untapped opportunity. You can hear the desperation behind the polished words. They're realizing that the rooms are full of women, but the men just aren't showing up anymore. And they're confused. They're looking around wondering, where are the guys? But let's be honest. This is a bed modern women made, and now they're laying in it. For years, men showed up. They tried. They took chances. They paid for dinners, showed up to speed dating events, made the effort to look good, be polite, ask questions, and initiate conversation. And what did they get in return? Laughed at, ghosted, rejected for not being tall enough, rich enough, exciting enough. If he wasn't flashy or had the right status, he was invisible. And now you want those same men to come back and give dating another shot like nothing happened? This isn't an untapped opportunity. It's a cleaned-out battlefield. Men aren't attending these events because they finally realize the game isn't fair. You can't shame them for being creepy 1 minute and then beg for their attention the next. You can't say men are trash on every platform for a decade and then act surprised when they decide to keep their distance. What's really happening is women are starting to feel the consequences. They're starting to see that empowerment without accountability leads to emptiness. That being too good for everyone leaves you alone in a room full of other women who think the same way. And now they're calling it a crisis because men are choosing peace over performance. Men are choosing their time, money, and mental health over a system that never respected them to begin with. The reason these events are failing isn't because men are lazy. It's because they're smart. They're waking up. They know that showing up to these rooms just means getting judged, compared, and picked apart while being expected to carry all the weight of the interaction. They know it's a setup, and they're walking away from it, not because they hate women, but because they finally learned to value themselves. Women called it independence. They called it standards. But what they really did was raise the bar so high for average men, while offering less and less in return. And now that the guys have checked out, the panic is setting in, because you can't have a dating market without the men. You can't build connection on contempt. And the moment men stopped chasing, the game fell apart. So when you say it's an untapped opportunity, just know it's not because men didn't see it. It's because they saw it, lived it, got burned by it, and decided it wasn't worth it. If you want men to come back, it's not about flashy events. It's about respect. It's about accountability. And until that becomes a foundation, the smart men will stay home, and the silence in those dating halls will only grow louder.
So there's a viral video going around of a girl complaining that she went on a date with this guy, and she ended up opening up her phone and using it for like 30 seconds. While she's using her phone, the guy gets up and just leaves, doesn't say a word. And she went on social media trying to vent, saying like, oh, I can't believe he was so rude, and he just got up and left while I was using my phone. So I disagree with you. You are not the victim in this scenario at all. Listen, the least you could do on a date after a guy has worked so hard to get you on it is be a little bit respectful and not use your phone and go on social media. I think that's the least guy deserves while on a date with you. We don't require much from you. Just show up and be respectful. Your social media can wait. All those other notifications can wait. We ask for literally an hour to 2 hours of your day. That's it. How disrespectful it is. Right in front of the guy, you're going to use social media, the thing that you use every hour. I've had this done to me multiple times, and I'm telling you, we will never follow up with you after that date.
So there's this viral video going around. A woman's on social media, venting, complaining. She says she went on a date with a guy, sat across from him, and at some point early into the date, she picked up her phone. Not for hours, not for an emergency, just casually started scrolling for what she claimed was 30 seconds. And you know what happened? The guy stood up and walked out. Didn't say a word. Just got up and left. Now she's online acting shocked, calling him rude, asking how he could just walk away like that. And I'll tell you exactly how. Because men are done being disrespected. That man made a decision that most men don't. He enforced a boundary. He understood his value. He saw the writing on the wall. If she couldn't be present and focused during the first few minutes of a date, if her phone had more priority than the man in front of her, then she didn't deserve his time, his attention, or his effort. Simple. She took him for granted, and he took himself out of the situation. This is a result of a culture that's gassed up women to believe that basic decency doesn't apply when a man is trying to court them. That showing up is enough. That men should tolerate bad manners, bad attitudes, divided attention, and still be expected to foot the bill and hope for a second date. And the moment a man flips the script, he's a problem? No, she's not mad because he was rude. She's mad because she couldn't control the narrative. He walked away before she could waste his time. The truth is, that man probably dealt with this kind of behavior before. Most men have. Sitting across from someone who thinks they're doing you a favor by being there. Someone who believes you owe them your full attention while they give you scraps. And this time, he didn't tolerate it. That wasn't rude. That was power. That was self-respect in action. And let's not pretend this was some isolated incident. Women today constantly talk about how men lack manners, effort, and consistency. But how many women come to a date genuinely prepared to engage, connect, and be present? Because if your phone is more interesting than the person sitting across from you, stay home. Don't show up to a date and then act like a teenager waiting for something better to happen on Instagram. You're not the victim. You're the one being disrespectful. And when she jumped online to cry about it, she expected sympathy. She expected other women to validate her, to say it was wrong, to say 30 seconds isn't a big deal. But what they don't understand is that men today are no longer grading disrespect on a curve. 30 seconds is all it takes to show someone you don't value them. 30 seconds was enough for that man to realize she wasn't worth his time, and he walked away without drama. That's how it's done. So no, he wasn't rude. He was right. He sent a message that more men need to start sending. That time is valuable. That attention is earned. That if you can't be present, you don't get the privilege of his presence. And if that offends you, maybe it's time to ask why you think someone should sit across from you while you stare at your phone. Because the real problem here isn't him walking away. It's that she never showed up mentally in the first place.
Guys not making a move anymore is so frustrating because the amount of times that I've heard so-and-so has liked you before, like at this time. I didn't know if you felt the same way, so he never said anything to you. I've been getting that a lot recently, and I can't stop thinking, what if, bro? So guys, can you make a move again? Can we stop being afraid and just make a gesture? I'm never gonna make a move.
You know what's actually frustrating? Women complaining that guys don't make the first move anymore. That guys aren't approaching. That they're tired of waiting. That men are too scared, too passive, or not masculine enough. But here's the real deal, and I'm saying this bluntly because it needs to be said. You broke it. You broke the game. You broke the rules. You changed the playing field. And now you're mad that the players don't want to play. Let's get this straight. Men used to approach. We used to take risks. We used to pursue. And for decades, even centuries, that was a dynamic. Man approaches, woman responds. Simple, natural. But then came the era of shaming, finger-pointing, and public humiliation. Now, if a man walks up to you with confidence, he's labeled creepy. If he shows interest, he's accused of being desperate or manipulative. If he flirts, you record him. If he compliments you, you say he's objectifying you. If he asks you out, he's harassing you. If he persists, he's toxic. You weaponize our intentions. You twist a desire into danger. And now you wonder why we stopped? You can't constantly accuse men of being predators for showing interest and then complain that we don't pursue you anymore. That's not how this works. That's not empowerment. That's confusion. And it's killing natural connection. You expect men to carry all the risk, emotional, social, and now even legal, just to say hi or you're beautiful. And when we hesitate, when we pause, when we play it safe, you label us weak. Cowards? No, we're not scared. We're smart. We're tired. We're done playing a game that's rigged against us. Let's also talk about rejection. In the past, a rejection was just that, a no, a polite turn down. Now it turns into TikToks, tweets, and Instagram reels. You get clout for embarrassing men. You make content out of shutting guys down. So we've watched it. We've learned. And we've adapted. We don't play where we're not welcome. That's what it comes down to. You want men to lead, to chase, to be bold. But you've built a system where doing any of that comes with consequences, ridicule, and shaming. And now, you sit there wondering where all the real men went. They didn't disappear. They just went quiet. They're watching, observing, calculating. Because these days, one wrong move, one misunderstood look, one misread vibe, and it's over. And women made it that way. This whole, why don't guys approach anymore talk? That's just the aftermath of women poisoning the well. And then being shocked, no one wants a drink from it. If you want men to make the first move again, then fix the culture. If you want men to pursue, then stop punishing them for trying. If you want bold men, then stop rewarding passive ones and punishing the assertive. Because you can't keep sending mixed signals and expecting clear results. We didn't change on our own. We adapted to survive.
Single girlies in their late 20s, early 30s. Where are we finding men?
Unfortunately, they are working overtime instead of going out and dating because they feel they will never be attractive enough or wealthy enough for a girl ever again. They would rather check their weather app than chat with another person on Hinge. If they're not at work, they're usually at home, the gym, playing video games with friends, or fighting for democracy. You're welcome.
Where do the men go? That's the question a lot of women are asking today. You're looking around at your 30s, mid-30s, sometimes even your 40s, wondering where all the good men disappeared to, why nobody's chasing you, why nobody's stepping up, why no one's interested in committing. You scroll through social media and podcasts and relationship forums, try to figure out why men are avoiding responsibility, why they're not maturing, why they're emotionally unavailable. But let's cut through the noise right now. Let's get brutally honest. The men didn't just vanish. They walked away. They backed off. They disengaged. And not because they're scared of commitment. Not because they're weak. Not because they're lost little boys who can't lead. No, they walked away because women pushed them away. You built a world that told men they're disposable, replaceable, and problematic. And now you're surprised they've stopped showing up? Let's not pretend this is some mystery. For years, men have been told they're toxic, that their masculinity is dangerous, that everything they do, even if it's rooted in love or protection, is oppression. We've been called controlling when we lead, emotionally distant when we don't, weak if we express ourselves, abusive if we set boundaries. You said you didn't need us. You wanted independence. You wanted to be the man, the provider, the head, and that's fine. That's your choice. But now don't cry because men listened. You told us to sit down, to shut up, to step aside. So we did. You told us that chivalry was outdated, that opening doors was patronizing, that being the pursuer was problematic, so we stopped doing it. You said you could do everything a man can do, better, faster, without the burden of having to deal with us. So we moved on. Where did the men go? They went where they were appreciated. They went where their efforts weren't met with skepticism or sarcasm. They went where they could lead without being mocked, where they could love without being labeled manipulative, where their desire for peace wasn't seen as weakness, where their hard work wasn't taken for granted, where respect was mutual, not transactional. They went where women didn't weaponize femininity to dominate, humiliate, or control. You want man, but only on your terms. You want him to make six figures, be emotionally intelligent, have the body of an athlete, and treat you like a queen, but you bring attitude, entitlement, broken communication, and zero accountability. You want a traditional man without being a traditional woman. You want his resources, his loyalty, his commitment, but you're not bringing peace, femininity, or support. You say you want equality, but when the bills show up, suddenly you want tradition. You say men are intimidated by strong women, but truthfully, men are just exhausted by entitled ones. We're tired of being told to prove ourselves to women who don't even know how to be women anymore. Where did the men go? They went silent. They went inward. They went MIA because every time they tried to show up, they were told they weren't enough, or that being a man was a problem. And now you're left with your friends, your degrees, your boss babe status, and your wine nights, wondering why the men don't want to build with you. It's not that we don't want love. It's that love with you comes with too much hate, too much blame, too much nagging, too much chaos, too much testing, and not enough trust. Too much conditional acceptance, and not enough genuine feminine energy. So where do the men go? we didn't disappear. We just stopped showing up for women who never appreciated us in the first place. You told us we weren't needed, and we believed you. But here's the part you won't like. We're not coming back until the culture changes, until respect goes both ways, until being a man isn't a liability in your eyes, until femininity stops being something women are ashamed of. You can't have it both ways. You can't shame us and then miss us. You can't emasculate us and then ask where the real men went. We're still here, but we're not signing up for your games anymore. And if this hit you somewhere real, then like, comment, and subscribe for more. I'm not here to sugarcoat. I'm here to speak what men are too tired or too silent to say.